Whispers from deep in the void speak of an entity, one that thrives on combat, not as a follower of Khorne, but for the knowledge of war. It will capture great leaders and generals, then for reasons unknown, it will pit them against countless copies of their own minds in some nightmarish coliseum. Some are even put into the bodies of different creatures, from Imperium to Xenos, even Chaos. None are spared. Vast enough to be called a moon, yet not a soul in sight. Only the ghostly roar of a spectating crowd can be heard. One captured custodian noted it was not unlike the blood games held in the Imperial Palace, although why this thing was doing it remained a mystery.
This is our battlefield today. It's going to be Chilling Rain and Taken Hold with a Dawn of War deployment. So deploying long ways. Here we have the Tau, 2,000 points of the Kalyon Detachment. And on this side, we have 2,000 points of Hypercrypt Legion Necrons. And we will go over the list. Total comes to 1990. We're going to try using the King, so I think with the King you can actually take advantage of the detachment ability of teleporting around. It says doesn't give you any keywords specific, so you can use him to teleport around, so I think that'll be pretty good. And we have a Locust Lord, and he has the enhancement that allows him and his unit to reroll hits of 1. And if he just arrived on the battlefield, re-roll his entire hits, and as well as the unit's entire hits. He's going to be paired up with 6 of the regular Overlord with the Translocation Shroud. It's the old Overlord model, but we're still going to use him for that. Just so he can join it with 10 Lich Guard, so he can get across the board faster. And they don't really have any battle tactics that we can use, but he can still use the command point reroll for free if he has to, or something like that, but it's mostly just for the 6-inch auto advance with the speed. And the old Overlord has the enhancement just to allow for 1 more unit for the detachment ability, so instead of 3 units I can pick up at the end of my opponent's turn, it can be 4 now. Then we have the Scorpek Lord. He is paired with 6 Scorpek Destroyers. He has the enhancement that will allow him to put him in to use the detachment ability and then deep strike him in the next turn. Plasmancer. He's just to add a little more utility and damage to the 10 Immortal Doomsday arc, just for some long-range firepower, and the 4-up Involved just makes them extra tough and hard to remove. A Reanimator. The aura isn't as big, it's only 3 inches, but being able to pick up a unit at the end of the opponent's turn, I should be able to move him around the board pretty fast. And then our 6 Scorpek Destroyers, they're going to go with the Scorpek Lord, and his enhancement allowing you to hyperphase these and deep strike them. So I think they'll be very handy. 10 Immortals, Tesla, and they're just going to be to hopefully deal with the chaff, possibly the breachers and such from the Tau list here. 10 Lich Guard, they're going to be going with the Overlord with the Translocation Shroud. Let's move on to Tau, see what they have on the shelf. Leading the Tau, we're going to be using Commander Shadowsun, just for her re-rolls of 1 aura around her, and sometimes you can farm a little bit of CP. Another character is going to be the commander in the Coalstar suit. He's going to have all plasmas, no shield generators. He's going all offensive, so all plasmas, and he just allows our unit that he's going to be joining to move 12 and give them assault. And this will be the unit that he's joining. 6 crisis suits. I'm going to put two cyclic ion blasters on every suit and a plasma on every suit. I have shield generators and these shield drones just to give them some more toughness and staying power. And we have 2 Cadre Fire Blades. They have no enhancements, and they are going to be leading a unit of breachers each. A unit of pathfinders. For the double spots, 3 of them have a rail rifle. Here is our breacher teams. Each of the breacher teams are going to have a guardian drone and a gun drone, followed up by 2 units of stealth suits. Each unit has a marker drone and a shield drone just for utility, so they can spot some more. They're great spotting units. And each unit has 1 fusion blaster each. Ghost Kill, 2 big boy Riptides. One has the ion accelerator, other has the heavy burst cannon. Both of them have twin plasma, 2 missile drones. And a Devilfish, it has the twin smart missiles along with the little burst cannon it has, and this is just for transporting one of those units of breachers. And our two hammerheads, they're two separate units, and they have the railguns, so some great anti-tank. And that is the list, so let's go from the shelf to the battlefield. So let's see who deploys. Green will be Tau, and black is Necrons. Necrons deploy first. Alright, so this is how I've deployed as the Tau. Just to try to get some cover here as much as I can. A few places I really couldn't, but we'll see how it goes. The Necrons, we put the Scorpic destroyers, the Scorpic Lord in reserve, because he has the deep strike ability with the enhancement that he has. The Doomsday, the Locust destroyers, the King, the Lichguard there, Scarabs, and the heavy destroyers with the Immortals there. Alright, let's go to the first turn roll. Green is Tau and black is the Necrons. Necrons go first. The draw for the Necrons turn 1, aerial denial, and no prisoners. So really nothing happening in the command phase. We both gained a ECP, so for the movement, I used the new Overlord little teleport ability to get those Lichguard out into the middle for aerial denial. I advanced these, so they skittered on up there. Only got advanced with one on these fellas, so the Immortals moved a little bit towards the objective. These heavy destroyers kind of moved out to get some shots onto that Riptide. Same with the King, moved his Minears out to get some shots onto that Riptide, hopefully get some no prisoners. Scarabs moved ahead a little bit. Doomsday shuffled a little bit ahead, and everything else just kind of stayed here. The Reanimator kind of shoved behind that wall to get close enough to the Lichguard. And that is the movement, onto shooting. Slight change here since I didn't realize the Annihilation beams are from the Minears are only 24 inches, so it wouldn't be in range. So we're just going to sit back here behind this wall instead. Heavy destroyers onto the Riptide. They got a wound through, but the Riptide saved it. And I'm not really going to do any charges. I get onto the middle there for aerial denial for 5 points. And I'm going to toss no prisoners for a extra CP. I did pop Battlesuit stim injectors for the Riptide, hoping to save it, but it really didn't take any wounds, so it was really kind of a wasted CP, but away she goes. So on to Tau turn 1. Tau turn 1 draw. We have Investigate Signals and Cleanse. That'll put the Tau up to 2 CP and the Necrons up to 3. Tau have moved up quite aggressively to get onto this objective so they can cleanse. They moved around here so they get some shots onto the Immortals and maybe a few shots onto those heavy destroyers. Moved up here so we could cleanse. Moved across here to just get a few shots into these Immortals. This Ghost Keel's over here so we can investigate signals. Same as this Hammerhead, it's going to investigate signals as well. And so we will move on to the shooting phase. Not a bad shooting phase. I killed some Immortals with the Riptide and the Stealth Suits, able to wipe out the Scarab Squad, but I did spend a CP to re-roll one of the shots from the Riptide here to try to kill this, make sure I killed them. And then I cleansed with this group of Breachers, and I cleansed with this group of Stealth Suits. So the score is 9-5 going into turn 2 for the Necrons. Turn 2 draw, let's see what we get. Cleanse, and engage in all fronts. All right. Command phase, we went up to Necrons went up to 4 CP and 2 CP. I spent one of those in the movement phase just to use the revival within 3, but I didn't go within 3. I kind of went back a little bit here. I advanced these immortals up to this objective. I dropped all these. There wasn't many good places to drop these destroyers, so I dropped them kind of in the middle to get a few shots onto the Devilfish. Move these Lich Guard up to cleanse that objective. I move these Scarabs up to cleanse the objective. I'm sadly going to have to use the Doomsday to shoot into those stealth suits. Alright, on to the shooting phase. Pretty abysmal shooting phase. The Immortals were able to kill the stealth suits. The Locust Destroyers did take off 6 wounds off the Devilfish. But the King and the Heavy Destroyers all bounced off the Riptide. The Riptide made some amazing saves. Doomsday Arc only rolled a 2 for his shot, so he rolled a 1 and then +1, so 2 shots, and only one of them got through, and he saved one of them. So maybe he saved it on a 6. So that is the Necron shooting phase, and I'll discard engage in all fronts, gaining me another CP here. I'll start burning some of these. Cleansed with that. With the Lich Guard. So, and sadly these weren't able to cleanse since I wasn't able to get rid of the stealth suits, so that brings the score up to 18-9. Let's see what the cards for the tower for turn 2. We have a tempting target, which will be the middle one for the, and defend stronghold. I move the stealth suits up onto that objective, move these breachers into this building. I put them on top just for video's sake, but they're inside the building with the intention of them being all within far enough away from the wall that they can't be hit through the wall, but not enough room to actually fit the Scorpic Destroyers in. The Hammerhead is still sitting there. Crisis suits moved out some shots onto the Scarabs, and then they're just going to move back behind a wall or somewhere else. All this stuff got moved here to get some shots onto the King and these Destroyers. Devilfish moved around the corner to get some shots onto the Immortals. All these other fellows shuffled up onto this objective. Alright, on to shooting phase. Pretty good shooting phase by the Tau. We're able to kill those Scarabs pretty easy with the Crisis suits, and then they just move back here towards my objectives to help protect that. We left that Lich Guard alone for now. I didn't really touch them. Just kill everything around it, kind of make them have to stay there. These Riptides and the Ghost Kill were able to kill out Heavy Destroyers. I did use a CP with the Necrons to try to save them, but they still went down. We're able so far to fully wipe out units is what we want as a Tau. And the Necrons sadly have been bouncing with a lot of shots. So hopefully the Necrons can have a strong turn 3. And let's rack up the points to see what we're sitting at. The end of the turn it is 18-24 for the Tau. We're discarding Tempting Target for CP. We're going to use our Hyperface, and we're going to pick up the Doomsday Arc. And we are going to pick up this group here, our Locust Destroyers. Alright, turn 3 draw for Necrons. We have Assassination and Investigate Signals. In the command phase, we're up to 5 CP. One of our Minears back with 2 health remaining, and all the Necrons came back, the mortals. Pretty aggressive movement phase here because I am behind on points a little bit here. He's going to investigate signals. The king up to hopefully get some shots onto these Riptides. Lich Guard are still holding on to the center. The destroyers have moved up to hopefully kill these stealth suits. I'm spending a CP to drop these fellas here within 3 inches. On to the shooting phase. The king was able to kill the one Riptide. He didn't explode, sadly. Neither did the Devilfish, who were destroyed by the Immortals, who powered up pretty good. Locust destroyers came in here now. Took out 2 of the Crisis suits. I would have liked to kill a few more. Killed 2 and brought in half another. Crisis suits had spent 1 CP for stim injectors to try to save some of that damage. No explosions anywhere around here or else. And I did the charge phase over here as well, just off camera, and the destroyers kind of mopped up them stealth suits. Points are 30-24 going into Tau turn 3. Tau were able to defend strongholds. So let's see what our turn 3 is. We have engage in all fronts. Okay. And aerial denial. I don't know about aerial denial. So in the movement phase, I just brought my breachers out here to get a beat on these destroyers. The hammerhead stayed here to shoot the destroyers too if they need to. I moved these crisis suits back to get a beat on all these locust destroyers who overwatched and did manage to kill a suit and bring a suit down to 2 wounds. I moved the Tetris to be able to spot those destroyers. I put a lot of my firepower back here to hopefully wipe these guys out. Take some of the options away from the Necrons. This hammerhead staying here to put some shots onto the king. The Riptide moved up to get some shots onto the Immortals. And for engage on all fronts as well. Ghost Kill to stay back here to shoot at the king as well. Alright, on to our shooting phase. Kind of a mixed bag for the shooting. We only killed 2 Immortals, so they'll most likely be back next turn. Breachers were able to put a decent dent on the destroyers, but once again, some of them might be able to res back. This one will be healed back to full. We might get 1 back. Between all the stuff down here, we did kill all these destroyers, so that was a pretty big blow to the Necrons. Ghost Kill was able to kill a Menhir, but that another one will just come back next turn. But the Necrons are running out of assets. The score is 40-30 for the Tau at the end of turn 3, and we're going on to turn 4 for starting with Necrons. Draw for the Necrons, we have kept Assassination, and we get Overwhelming Force. Pretty poor rolling for Regeneration Protocol. We only got 1 back for each roll, so that is not good. On to movement. Necron turn 4 movement phase. We just moved up here a little bit to get closer to the Breachers, just to take the Overwatch now to see what happens. And nothing happened. I only got 1 6 out of 30 shots. I moved the Lich Guard head up here to try to charge onto this back objective. I moved up the Reanimator just to hold on to that objective. Move the Doomstalker back to get a few shots. And move that Veneer that could heal back up here to get some shots on this Riptide. Hopefully we can get rid of this Riptide and some of this pressure. That's I also went for broke here and just kind of wrap myself around here. Hopefully to wipe out these Breachers and claim this objective. Alright, shooting. Sadly, for the Necrons, we weren't able to kill the Riptide. We took 7 wounds off it, so it is down to 7. And sadly, again, we weren't able to kill all of the Breachers. We got that objective, so we'll get the objective, but we won't get the points for Overwhelming Force. And then hopefully in this charge phase here, we can pick up Assassination off this block of Breachers and the Conjure Fireblade. And we'll also charge this Lich Guard into the back. We'll be back after charging in melee and see what happened. That was a huge turn for the Necrons. We cleared out the Conjure Fireblade and the Breachers there. And then the Lich Guard made the charge. and they killed the Pathfinders, and they were able to pile in onto the objective a little more. These Immortals didn't charge in, so I had to use an advance to get around that wall to be able to shoot them some. But other than that, it was a pretty good turn for the Necrons. The Necrons now own every objective on the board. Let's see what happens into turn 4 with the Tau. And let's see what the Tau get for turn 4 cards. We need some good cards here. We got no prisoners, kill things. That's pretty much what we need to do here. And overwhelming force. Well, the Necrons are on every objective, so it could be a good turn for the Tau. Both sides are running out of assets. Hammerhead moved up, get a couple shots on them destroyers. The Riptide and the Ghostkill moved ahead. I had to use Insane Bravery to pull back the Fireblade and the last few Breachers. The Hammerhead's going to have a few shots this way. I'm not sure. I haven't really been able to do too much to the King really so far. And all this stuff back here is to try to hopefully clear off my home field objective. We'll see what happens after all the pew-pews. Shooting phase, not bad, but sadly I wasn't able to wipe out units fully, so I wasn't able to get as many points. These Necron Immortals were able to survive from the onslaught of all of this. I even used Point Blank Ambush to get a little more AP onto the burst cannon, but still wasn't able to wipe them fully. We did kill the Lich Guard, but I did lose a Crisis Suit for the Overcharge. Luckily, so far, nothing else has overcharged really from hazards has killed themselves or anything. But that Overlord surviving kind of sucks. I was hoping to be able to kill them with the Railgun, but the Railgun rolled a 1 for the wound, and then using the target ring, it rolled another 1. So the Overlord will live. I killed one Scorpic Warrior, but he'll just be back next turn. But on to turn 5, we'll see what's going on here. But the Necrons are ahead in points. I do believe it's 53 to 45. At the end of the Tau turn 4, I picked up this Doomsday Arc. Put it into Hyperphase ability. Come in at next turn. Necron turn 5, draw. We got Bring It Down. Behind enemy lines. Alright, we should be able to do something with those. I'm pretty sure behind enemy lines I can get those with the Scorpic Destroyer. So let's go into our movement, our final movement for the Necrons. And the animation protocol is betraying me again. I only got one Immortal back. I only rolled a 1 for the Scorpic Destroyer, so I got 1 back with 1 wound. And the Overlord did heal back all his wounds. Quick movement phase. I just moved all these things back here behind enemy lines. Move the King out here to try to kill this Riptide, since I don't need to be on the objectives anymore. It's just trying to get as many points as I can. And let's see how many points I can get by the end of turn 5 for Necrons. Alright, sadly, we only brought this thing down to 1 wound. The Menhir hit him down from 7 wounds to 1 wound, but sadly the King was not able to kill him with the staff. I got a 5 on the invuln save. So he is alive. The score is 73 to 45, moving on to turn 5 for the Tau. Alright, turn 5 draw for the Tau. Let's see what we get. We need something good here. We got Deployed Teleport Homer. Ugh, don't know about that. And Secure No Man's Land. Alright, so we're just going to do the movement phase. There's nothing really to bother shooting, just we're just going to get on objectives and complete these secondaries. So we'll get on to this objective with the Hammerhead. We'll move the Riptide back and get into the deployment zone for deployed teleport homers. And we're on this objective and this objective. We have that one for Secure No Man's Land and for the hold 3 at the end of the game. But even with that rally, it was close, but the Necrons win this 83 to 80 with paint. That was a very close game, but I'm sure there's things I missed. I'm still trying to kind of figure out the format for these games, but as I get more hang of it, I'll make sure I get all the rules down and make sure I don't miss anything and let you guys know everything that went on here with stratagems and all that in case I missed any of that. This is the first and hopefully a format of a little bit easier for me to put out faster and a little easier for you guys to watch. It's just, just me playing, so it's not 45 minutes of me rambling on by myself playing. Hopefully we'll have another game on here soon. Thanks for stopping by.